Welcome back, everyone. We did warn you that we might go down, and that's exactly what happened, with a little bit of a glitch coming, of course, from Ranheim leaving the session and then rejoining back within the formation map, and that has caused a whole host of pursuers and a whole host of lobby glitches, and stream obviously went down as well. But we are here, not for the Australian Grand Prix, as you can see on your screens currently, but we are, of course, here for Belgium, round 7 of the championship. My name is James Howard, Daniel Hoggard once again alongside me, and Dan, we'll just talk about qualifying first of all, because Invictus set that really good lap time for anybody that might not be tuning in to this portion of the stream.
Oh yeah, it was absolutely incredible. 4 tenths he was clear of anyone else in the grid. Yeah, so those AlphaTauris also, they were very strong as well, getting up there the front on the first 2 rows. So it's going to be certainly fascinating to look out for, because I assume that we're going to be carrying over the wet weather conditions, or the intermediate conditions that we had from the race earlier. And it just means that these guys, although one thing it is going to do actually, is what I've just realised, is that the drivers that, you know, maybe compromise their strategies more for, well, they compromise their setups more for a wet race, they're going to lose out here, because everyone else basically is going to be able to just run a setup that's suited to the wet, and they won't lose it out at all from compromising their race. Yeah,
I guess it works as an advantage, I think, in terms of that respect. But also it can work as a bit of a disadvantage, because I'm assuming we're going to replicate the same weather conditions as it once was. So hopefully we'll be able to see these guys really show their pace in the intermediate conditions out on track and see how we get on. You, my friend, need to go into spectator mode as well before I forget.
Thank you.
Because you don't want to be driving, you don't want to be put into a car and then I have Invictus, for example, in the commentary box alongside me, and you're just racing there out on track. Goodness me, we don't want that. But yeah, we're going to get the grid sorted and everything like that. Qualifying, I do believe, is going to be off, and we're just going to get a 50% race with the custom grid. And you can see custom weather has been selected as well. So I'm guessing Invictus's first job is to select the right weather out on track, and of course it was intermediate conditions. Whether it was going to go full wet remains to be seen. We could be in a scenario where it was going to be a full wet race, but because we select, as you can see on the bottom right hand side of your screen, go between the weather conditions, it might be the case where these intermediates actually go into a dry running period towards the end of the race. So it's quite unpredictable in that respect, I think, as well.
Yeah, if we are just running a set weather condition, then yeah, that certainly is going to change the impact, basically change the whole dynamic of what we're going to be seeing here tonight. There's still a long way to go, I imagine, in actually getting this lobby set up. I imagine there's going to be some communication between Invictus and Maze over how we're going to run things. Hopefully, of course, we get things up as soon as possible, but setting up a custom grid, setting up custom weather, making sure everything's fine, it will take some time. So please be patient. We will, at least I very much hope that we do get a race on for you guys here tonight. Just bide your time, and hopefully myself and James can ramble on enough to keep you entertained through this downtime.
I think, honestly, this might be the point in the stream where we tell you to go and grab the popcorn, grab a cup of tea, and we'll probably come back in about 5 minutes. We can't do that in real life, of course, and we can't do that in the sim racing world. But, just to confirm, I know people are asking, Jippy Storm, certainly one of the drivers that is asking there in the comment section, the lobby issue that we had, why we're getting this restart, is because Ranheim basically left the session at the end of qualifying. It causes a little bit of a glitch within the code, and then that means we can't race, and essentially we got blue screened out of the game. We had to report a problem and everything like that. That came up for us. So we're on a custom grid. We're just as confused as you guys are, but just to clarify on that, the lobby setup is going to be a custom grid, and we're going to have the custom weather conditions, of course, as well. So just bide your time. Hopefully we'll be getting started very soon indeed. We will go on the right track, first of all, as well, because we're still here in Australia. We're not here in Australia. We're here in Belgium, of course. So just to confirm about that. Jibby Storm actually coming in the comments section and saying he think he can't win tonight, not in the rain. Now, I believe the rain hasn't been a strong point so far this season. I remember in China, where I think it was quite wet, he struggled there. Do you think he can try and make it 3 in a row to try and get the championship lead ahead of Maze?
Well, I think that's going to be a tall order to get the win. But getting a win over getting a lead over Maze is probably more possible because of Maze's starting position right down there at the back of the grid. Of course, it's Division 5. We know how unpredictable it is, and safety cars, anything could maybe fall into Maze's lap. We'll see how it all unfolds. The whole race could be turned on its head as we're starting to get the custom grid set up now. I imagine we're going to select Spa at some point as well. Let's hope we're not actually going to be racing at Australia. I don't think that would make people too pleased with that, but I assume that everything will be fine. I think we should have every faith that Invictus can get this sorted out, although he still hasn't selected his own car. Just make sure that instead of focusing on the lobby, make sure that he's got himself sorted out as well. But I think because everyone else is in their cars, it won't matter anyway. We'll probably get allocated to the right one.
Yeah, he'll get allocated to McLaren. That's what I've just checked there on the stream. He will get allocated to McLaren. There we go. We're now in Belgium. The custom grid is probably being formatted right now. Maka and Jibby Storm saying they don't have a... Jibby Storm certainly saying he doesn't have a wet setup for this race. It's going to be quite interesting to see how he gets on. And Maka saying as well he's run a full wet setup for nothing. So we've got two ends of the spectrum there, I think, in terms of what these guys were doing in terms of qualifying. Going into the race, obviously these drivers are going to be a little bit down because of the mentality. I think they want to try and they're revving to go. They want to try and get the action underway as quick as possible. These guys are going to be sat waiting there. How does that affect the driver's mentality when you're waiting this long for a custom grid to be set up? It might just put you off.
It can certainly get the better of you. I think that's going to be the real battle the drivers are going to have to face from a mental point of view. They are going to have to remain focused, remain calm, make sure that they're not getting frustrated with all the waiting around. It is a naturally frustrating thing, of course. You're raring to go, you're ready to get racing, and then a lobby issue renders that an impossibility. So obviously getting things set up. But yeah, as a driver, you just have to stay focused, know the task at hand, and just keep your mind on what you need to do. So we'll see. If anyone, their mentality is going to be shifted. I have certainly seen that in these sort of situations, drivers that often may well have dominated, or at least ran very well in an opening race, that somehow that gets wiped, and then you're into the next race and they can't cope. Think about it. I remember in another league race, there was a driver that was leading the way early on, quite convincingly, had a lobby issue. Had to, about midway through the race, had to restart the whole thing. Went out, and he crashed out about 5 laps in. So there's certainly could be changes in your mentality, but the drivers just have to stay focused here.
I remember that, actually. Was that League of Japan, by any chance?
I think yes, that is what I'm referring to.
It was CPI Connor. I remember that quite fondly because he qualified just in behind Montana, I think, on that occasion. Dominated the start of the race, was in front by about 2 or 3 seconds. Then he left, and it caused a bit of a ruckus, really, between me and Dan, certainly in the commentary box. And sadly, he left the session. Then I think his AI car pitted on lap 4, or he pitted on lap 4, and because of the colder tyres, he crashed out. And that's what can affect your mentality. It can certainly affect your rhythm as well. Hopefully, as I say, we're going to be getting out on track very soon indeed. I'm just watching Division 4, by the way. TTG Storm has just came into the pit lane from the lead of the race. It is currently Consi Licala, I'm going to try and pronounce that name right, and Maximus, who are in first, second and third currently. Those guys are still yet to pit. Currently leading their way, though, is Khan, and he's ahead of Faxland, and Faxland trying to catch up to the back of those guys. Of course, if you do want to watch that, the lovely Graham Chappell and Joseph Corboy are taking you through that one for Division 4. They're on lap 10 out of 22. We, in the meantime, haven't even got a race start yet.
How envious we must be. But let's hope that when we actually get to the racing, it lives up to the promise, lives up to all the wait we've had to go through, and so that we can put on a great show for you guys. There is still certainly a long way to go. I know that the setting up the custom grid it can be a rather frustrating process for the guy organising it, making sure everything is in order. Of course, we're going to have to keep an eye out. Then again, what was I saying? I was going to say about tyre choices, but I don't think in this sort of situation it's going to make much of a difference. But yeah, I think the main difference is going to be with setups, certainly. Everyone now has a chance. With no parc fermé, they can just choose whatever setup they want to run, and anyone that maybe just went for a more qualifying based setups getting the most out of this by being able to run a wet setup for this race.
Yeah, hopefully it's a case where everyone's going to be on a level playing field, and hopefully we're going to have the replicated conditions that we had when we would have had that race start. Just seen something very nice and funny actually out on my Twitter. I've just retweeted it there. League of Europe have got like a film poster for tomorrow night for Saturday's racing, and I'm there commentated. I'm ahead of you, I'm afraid, in terms of the commentary on the bottom of the poster, but it's essentially the season finale for League of Europe over Abu Dhabi and over Brazil in the next 2 weeks, and of course me and Dan commentate there. Fantastic action. Go and watch it on a Saturday night. I can really highly recommend it, and hopefully we're going to be getting underway very soon indeed. In fact, the drivers are now ready and up. You, my friend, need to go back into spectate mode, but I think because everyone has selected their cars, we are going to be absolutely fine, and we're just moments away from hopefully everyone starting in the right hopefully everyone's starting, as I say, on the right setups and on the right tyres and whatever like that, and we're about to get underway for take 2 here in Belgium for the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. It is the Belgian Grand Prix. Round 7 of the championship is just moments away.
Here we go. Hopefully we get away well last time, and we can get that 7th round of this season underway. We are now well into this season, looking towards the second half of proceedings here in the TTML Division 5 Championship. So here we go now. Everyone running up, selecting their tyre allocations. Not that it's going to make too much of a difference, I suspect. And,
I can't see the names on my screen.
I can.
You can. Oh, they've just came up. Literally, as I said that, they've just came up on my right-hand side. So they're probably waiting on me now to join into the session. And now we are about to get underway. I think there's a little bit of a glitch going on in terms of the spectate mode on this game. Don't you love it? Hashtag esports ready on Twitter if you want to try and let out your frustrations on this game. It is a full wet compound it is intermediate conditions, same weather forecast, but it doesn't appear to me as if it's raining that heavy compared to what it was for the race start or for take 1, essentially.
I'll tell you, James, that is the exact first thought that I had as well. It is certainly still raining, and it is certainly going to be intermediate conditions, but yeah, I agree with you. It doesn't look quite as heavy, so it's not an exact replica. I imagine in the lobby this is about as close as we could have got. We're not going to hold that against anyone that was helping to organise that. As we now we're past the first barrier of actually getting onto the grid where everyone's going to count down. Looks like everyone's still in the lobby, so we shouldn't have too many issues, I imagine. And hopefully, at the second time of asking, we can get the 7th round of the championship here at Spa-Francorchamps underway. Here as the championship fight really hots up. Let's get into this.
Yep, just moments away, 5 seconds counting down to everyone going on to the formation lap. Hopefully we will have a formation lap and it won't catch me off guard, and hopefully I'll be able to commentate over this formation lap as well. Yeah, the formation lap just about to start now, and there's the predicted pit stop strategy. Lap 11 to 15 on a set of inters, lap 7 to 15 on a set of inters as well for a 2-stop strategy, and then weirdly, lap 14 to 21 on a 2-stop strategy. That 2-stop strategy seems to me as if it's a bit flawed.
Yeah, I would agree with you. That's rather unbalanced, but we'll see if anyone opts for that wild and wacky strategy to go along with. I think I do expect that most of the drivers will probably commit to that one stop, as we were alluding to before the first start to the race. Of course, one thing that's to note is that I don't know if the conditions are going to hold up all the way through, because we saw that they were the Invictus was forced to create a custom custom weather as opposed to holding light rain all the way through. So I suggest that maybe this could maybe flip towards potentially having intermediate conditions, maybe transitioning to slick conditions, or even full wet conditions. We'll see how that unfolds, but I don't expect that it's going to stay inters all the way throughout.
There's a lot of standing water, I think, on the curbs coming through. Just realising this now, it looks like there's more in terms of there's less rain, but there's more standing water out on tracks. It's already as if that shower has came and gone, and we're now in the process of another shower out on track here. Everyone looking further down the field. You mentioned Mays down there in 19th position as being one of the ones to watch. How do you think he'll get on from 19th position out on track? Because he's got a mountain to climb if he wants to try and outscore the likes of Jack Roos and Jippy Storm, who are starting 3rd and 6th.
Well, yes, certainly he's got a lot of work to do. There is no doubt about that. It really all depends. I expect Mays, if he gets to the first lap cleanly, and that's a big if, because I think as much as I don't hope so, a track like Spa in the wet, it could well be rather chaotic in those first few corners. So I think if someone like Mays, or as Jack Roos has been disqualified, not going to cost him too much, because we are just heading round to the grid now. But I think if the guys at the back can just avoid getting damaged, the guys in the midfield I think are going to be actually the ones in the most danger from picking up some damage. And then after that it's going to be, I can see the field actually spreading out rather quickly in the wet conditions, and then it's going to be the drivers that can adapt the best to these conditions that are going to really shine through regardless of the on-track position, I think.
Anybody that you rate as an intermediate driver, you might see them in the top 3 here tonight. It's as simple as that. Anything can happen here in Belgium. Literally anything. We've had no safety cars so far this week. No VSCs so far this week. Are we about to see our first action, proper action out on track, as we are now about to get underway here in Belgium for round 7 of the championship, and we are going to get a race start, it seems, which is very good indeed. The light should come on, and now we're about to get going for round 7 of the championship here in Division 5 of TTML. A Sammy King freak won't get drive-through penalties. Maybe a little bit of a lights glitch, but it's lights down, away we go. Invictus has not really got a good start, and Jippy Storm's ahead of him. Jippy Storm running down towards La Source, trying to get the run on Invictus. Invictus on the inside line, Jippy Storm on the outside line. They both jumped. Ranheim off, and there's a spinner in the background there. Hulkenberg gets round. There's all sorts of carnage. I think Schmitsky might have been caught up in that as well. But further down further up the field, Invictus leads from Jippy Storm second. Nelson third as they come up the hill for the first time through a Rouge and Radion, and Invictus looking a spray being kicked off these cars as Jippy Storm tries to close on, and Invictus, you can see the time marks being treaded by these intermediates out on track, and Invictus has got the start that he wanted, and he's somehow held on to the lead of the race. Jippy Storm there in second. Mays has been caught up in that early incident as well. He's all the way down in 17th position. In fact, no, he hasn't, because he started in 19th, didn't he? I'm absolutely mad. Hulkenberg, Parcells 18th, 19th. Schumi was the one that got caught up in the Haas in 20th with a really good start, and Invictus just beginning to pull away, I think, out in front.
Yeah, it's going to be such an advantage to be leading in these sort of conditions there. The spray and the wake coming off the car in front is going to keep him alive, and Jippy Storm's going to have a tough time trying to match the pace of the McLaren, who still leads out there by 9/10 at the moment. We saw a couple of jump starts down there on the grid. Sammy King and Freak Frog moving away before the lights went out. Of course, there may well have been a little bit of lag down there. Of course, we'll never know quite just yet, I imagine, but everyone on the grid trying to settle in. There was definitely a bit of a scuffle through the entire back half of the field, I think. Going through the first sector, it seemed like they were actually detached. It was like the field was in two different groups.
Storm's
going off. Going through Campos, he drops right to the back of the field, and he's stopped completely. Now gets it going as everyone goes through. The Alfa Romeo must have made an error, must have gone off at some point. It's up in front. Silas now is battling with Sammy King. Is going to get through on the Ferrari up into 11th place now.
Nelson.
And Nelson as well. Jamie, they come together, and Nelson straight into the wall and out of the race.
Him with Jeffrey and Nelson in contact there. No yellow flags, weirdly, out on track. There is a yellow flag now for that stricken car, but Jeffrey looked like he just got forced wide out on track. We see a little bit of a timing glitch going on completely as we mess up on the graphics, and I think there's a VSC out on track. No, it's a full safety car out on track, and these guys have not been picked up by the safety car either. That safety car is still in the pit lane, so these guys essentially have got a free lap, but the safety car being deployed on lap 2 out of 22. I said anything could happen. I said we didn't have a safety car all week, and then look what's happened. I'm the commentator's curse already of tonight.
So it begins, I say. That's one thing to look at there. Invictus has dropped off my timing board. No, he's still fine. Classic Roadmasters there. Yeah, he is still absolutely out in front. Of course, the graphics just glitching out a little bit. One thing I noticed is that Sammy King was able to actually serve that drive-through because he went into the pit lane before the safety car was actually brought out. So he's actually kept himself in contention rather nicely. The safety car isn't going to change much, of course. Nielsen coming together with Jeffrey. I think what happened there, Jeffrey was well off the track, tried to rejoin, and Nielsen's car was just there when he was trying to get in the way, and ultimately it was the McLaren that lost out big time from that. I think going side by side through Blanchimont, it's risky enough in the dry, but in the wet conditions, well, you see the consequences, and unfortunately Nielsen has been rendered out the race in the opening lap, and yeah, he's not going to be scoring any points today. That's bitterly disappointing for Nielsen. What have you noted?
Jeffrey's got damage, left side end plate damage after that contact with Nielsen. So Nielsen, I think, was trying to force the way through, down through Blanchimont, trying to make it side by side and go for a gap that really was not there. He's forced, they've both made it somehow through side by side. Jeffrey got forced out wide by Nielsen's car. Jeffrey then came speeding across to try and rejoin track. Nielsen's in the middle of the track, and there's your incident right there, and Nielsen sadly out of the race, and that is what has deployed the safety car out on track on lap 2 out of 22. Don't let that graphics deceive you. We are on lap 2 out of 22, and Invictus leads from Jippy Storm in second position. Don't think anybody will probably come into the pit lane, given that we're still running on a set of intermediate compound of tyres. Nellis there in third. Looking at the position gains actually out on track, Dave Miles has gone up in 7 positions. Silas, the chief gainer though, up 8 positions ahead of the likes of Freak Wrong, Schmitsky and the likes, as Mays comes into the pit lane, maybe to repair some front wing damage, I think.
Well, I can't really see immediately, but he is the only car, I believe, that has dived to that pit lane. And yeah, he does have front wing damage. Just get that repaired nicely. Rejoin the back of the grid. But that's what I was mentioning. If Mays getting that damage really going to set it back, he now has to fight his way back through again. And with Jimmy Storm having that incredible launch off the line, nearly was leading going to that first sector. Had to settle back in, but still, I think will be very pleased, winning in second place. Invictus well within his sights, and Mays at the back of the field. This is a massive opportunity for Jimmy Storm tonight.
And Jimmy Storm said himself he wasn't that good in the wet. Well, he nearly got the drub on Invictus to try and take the lead of the race, so I consider that a really good start from Jimmy Storm, as Dan has said. And Invictus currently, of course, leading under the safety car. Safety car lights, I would imagine, May's just coming through onto the Kemmel straight now. We should see, I think, the safety car come into the pits this lap. The safety car normally, the safety car lights normally go out on the run through towards Blanchimont. That's where the safety car lights normally go out around this track, and Invictus is going to be that safety car, the theoretical safety car currently out on track. But everyone has got to stick to their delta point out on track. And for Torenheim and Freak Wrong, those were the only two, I believe, to correct you, who picked up a drive-through penalty. Torenheim's got a 5-second worth. Freak Wrong has got a drive-through, so I think you were right, it was Sapmi King that came into the pit lane. And just to confirm that with the stops, no, he hasn't been into the pit lane, actually. So I think Torenheim...
No, that's pit stops, not trips to the pit lane, I think. So I think he did go into the pit lane, but obviously he wasn't stationary, so that's probably why it hasn't counted.
Oh, I didn't see it. I didn't see that. So yeah, answers on a postcard, I think, with that one, if he did or not. But he hasn't got a drive-through penalty next to his name. In fact, you know what? I'm going to check the race director. The good old race director will probably confirm for us. This is something that you really don't see on our streams. And where is he? Sappy King. Yeah, he had an invalidated lap time on lap 1, but didn't pick up a drive-through, it seemed. And I'll have a look at the incidents. And no, you were right, he did have a drive-through. I do apologise. He did have a drive-through, and you can see all the incidents there being picked up. Quite a few warnings for drivers' collision there.
Safety car's in.
Safety car in?
Yeah, it's down to the pit lane. I'm very surprised because the notification didn't come up, and we are racing here now on lap 4 of this race. So yeah, Invictus led it away. I think even the drivers were surprised by that, and now they are back to racing, and Sammy King immediately dives to the pit lead already on this restart. Down the field, Silas and Mac are battling away. Silas up another position. The Racing Point flying here in the early stages here at Spa, as Nellis into the back of Jimmy Storm. Round goes the Ferrari into the wall. Still in the race, but he's got a T-train out of the front of that car. Jimmy Storm was slow going up Radio, and has caught out the Ferrari. It's now Rock City challenging Radio for that third place to the inside of Lake Cone. Gets it stopped, gets it turned in, and gets the place up in the third. Oh, with a P3 now on the road for the Mercedes. Good start, certainly, for Rocksteady. Now runs and the podium places at the moment. So a bit of a messy start for both the Ferraris. Nellis recovers, but he's now detached at the back of the field.
Jeffrey's gone wide.
What have you got?
Jeffrey's gone very wide. Salas is going through, down the inside through Bracel. That's an easy move if I've ever seen one. And Salas through, and he's up into 7th. But has Salas got damage, I wonder? He looks like he's missing a little bit of a winglet damage on the right side end plate, if I'm not mistaken. It's it's less visible out on track as Nellis has retired and crashed, actually, out on track. Whether that was on purpose, and it deploys another safety car out on track. How ridiculous can you be? That is going to be a penalty for Nellis. It's as simple as that. Crashing out like that is not only unprofessional, but it's brought out another safety car, and now we're back to square one once again. So, well done. Really well done.
Yeah, that is, honestly, I hate to use this word, but it's childish. Yeah.
Absolutely childish. Look at the drive-thrus as well. Salas, Freak Gronk have got drive-thrus. Torenheim, Jeffrey and Maka have picked up 5-second penalties as well. We're not getting any notifications, by the way, I don't think, on our bottom left screen. Where the F1 2020 logo is, we're not getting anything. So we are literally trying to predict the football results for tomorrow. It's quite simply like that. It's impossible to predict out on track. I do see, though, a Red Bull coming into the pit lane, and that is Jeffrey, Maka and Free Gronk all into the pit lane. And Maka's got damage, I think, on that right side end plate, and they're really stacking. They're trying to stay into the delta time. Hulkenberg also into the pit lane, but as the rain has stopped, actually, out on track. Yeah. The rain has stopped now out on track, and unfortunately for Maka, Jeffrey is only getting pitted now with that front wing change, and Maka's going to be held up maybe 15 seconds in the pit lane at least. He's got a front wing change himself, and Day Miles and Hulkenberg go on to a set of mediums and softs. No chance it is dry as yet. I can guarantee you my house on it, it is not dry. As you can see the spray coming out the pit lane. It's not dry as just yet.
Hulkenberg. Yeah, Hulkenberg almost lost it immediately coming out of the pit lane. You can see Jeffrey. The contrast in grip, but he's not allowed to overtake him. That's that's rather unfortunate. One thing to note though, the rain has to. Hulkenberg's dropped it, completely got the rally on it. Oh, he's lost the front wing. There is no grip out there at all. Yeah, that's a completely bold strategy for the Haas, and that's several drivers that are going to be on ice skates throughout this entire lap. The question is, I guess, first of all, can they actually keep up with the safety car? That's one thing I want to know. And also, this could actually work out in the long haul, as ridiculous as it sounds right now, and as ridiculous as it looks right now with these drivers clearly having zero grip out there. As what's going on with Mays? He's up until 11th. What's happening?
I thought you were going to say Mays will be the one that has really caught the eye, I think, because he's already been into the pit lane, just put on a fresh set of intermediates. Obviously it's going to dry out the track, but currently, because the guys ahead of him are on 5-lap old tyres come the end of this lap, Mays is going to be in fresher territory compared to the guys in front.
Yeah, that could really play into his advantage, but we'll see. I don't imagine the pit stops are going to wait too long, and that's going back to the point I was going to make. You see D Miles going around there, obviously massively slower than everyone around him, but it's going to get to this point. We may well have at least another lap, at least another few minutes for the conditions to dry out, and all he needs to do is essentially stay within a pit stop of the rest of the field, and he could be really gaining out of this, thereby putting on these slicks.
I think we're going to see DRS enabled very shortly, if I've got to be honest, because that track now looks a little bit bone dry to me. They're obviously still running wide, but it looks a lot quicker compared to when they came out on that set of tyres at the beginning of the lap. Torenheim now in, Salas now in, and this is exactly what I've said. They're expecting the DRS certainly to be enabled. We're not going to get anything, as Salas has picked up a drive-through penalty for spinning to the safety car. Another notification we're not getting. Everyone, though, seems like they're staying out. Invictus, the top 6 certainly now that are staying out. Jeffrey on a fresh set of inters. Everyone now coming into pit lane. There is still wet patches out on track, but trust me when I say this, we should see DRS enabled very, very shortly indeed. If it not already has been, we should see it now. But of course, it won't come into effect until all of these guys, first of all, get onto the back of the safety car, and then second of all, it'll be 3 laps, really, into the race restart. So we're going to be, what, lap 10 until we get DRS?
Yeah, it's certainly going to be like, well, I think lap 10 looks to be when we're going to be picking this up. But what are the race leaders going to do in this situation? They may well have been massively caught out. The field is going to bunch up, and these guys are going to have to pit at some point for the slicks, the way things are going in terms of the conditions. Has Invictus, Jimmy Storm, and everyone else in that pack that's on those inters, how much are they going to lose out if the field stays together, if they're not massively faster on the restart? And I'm talking 7 seconds a lap, and if you look at the track, it looks like it looks almost completely dry out there. I think the race leaders could have had a disastrous strategy call here.
Safety car apparently just popped up on my screen as coming in this lap. You can see there, it is not. It is still flashing yellow. So I think these notifications that are coming through are rather delayed. They're looking at Division 4, I should say. Faxlin leading the way by 7/10 on the final lap. Khan in second, and Atlas Copo in third. And Khan really beginning to catch Faxlin right at the end of the race. They're on the final lap. We are not even halfway through, so we're in for the long haul. We could be finished at 10 o'clock at this race. We could miss the Armour Celebrity Final at this rate, but it is all in the action for the guys out on track. I mean, the Armour Celebrity Final has just started, quite literally, but Invictus out on track. All of these guys, I think, on a set of inters, we're only waiting for Hulkenberg, I think, to get back onto the back of the safety car. They might not even wait, to be honest, for Hulkenberg, but all of these guys on a set of inters, I think if the safety car's not going to come in, we are going to go racing next time around. These guys have surely got to pit, and that'll bring Day Miles on the only driver on a set of soft compound of tyres out on track.
Yeah, they're coming
in the lead, and everyone now comes into the pit lane, and Day Miles will be left in front. So the Welshman, after his absolutely brilliant performance as AI car, now can show us what to do, from Russia that was last season, now can show us what to do on a fresh set of soft compound of tyres. He's going to be massively quicker than anybody else, but Rock City, I've noticed, on a set of softs.
Yeah, they're at the moment the only two cars. Look at how busy this pit lane is, and yeah, you've seen this changing up. Invictus has been held up, Jimmy Storm's going in front, but the order in this race has been hugely shaken up, and now it has been completely turned on its head. Day Miles, I can't believe I'm saying this, leads the Belgian Grand Prix, having made that strategy call that looked rather ridiculous at the time, was incredibly just foreshadowing, and as came through, now it leads the way. The field's going to bunch up. We should get back to racing on this lap, and my oh my, we have a very intriguing prospect ahead of you here tonight. The field basically gets turned on its head. The race leaders are now, for the most part, running outside the top 10. It's Schmitsky now out of the session. Hopefully he can get back in before we restart, because he's benefited hugely from this, and he might even be a contender. And what else are you seeing, James?
This is going to be a major problem, actually, because everyone in behind has got to stay behind Schmitzy's car. Salas has now left the session as well. Is there a possible issue going on, maybe with servers or something like that? I don't know. Schmitsky, though, has left the session. His AI car, everyone is going to have to be stuck behind that. Day Miles is going to get a freebie off the start. Everyone is going to have to sit in behind on Schmitsky until they get racing once again. Day Miles could be about 4 or 5 seconds ahead by that point.
I'm not sure what is going to happen here. I'm not sure if Schmitsky's AI car is going to go with Day Miles off the start. If it doesn't, these guys, they're not permitted to overtake. At least I believe so. Now, as we go over the line, the safety car should... Yeah, we are coming in. So, Day Miles backs up the pack. Schmitsky's AI will sit him behind, and he won't get in control of his car, surely. Which means that Day Miles, if I were him, I'd go early and try and get as much of a gap as possible before we go green.
I think that's the right scenario as well, because Schmitsky, his AI car, nobody is going to be allowed until we go back to green flag racing. It's as simple as that. And Day Miles is setting a very consistent pace, maybe setting a too consistent pace, to be honest. But it's to ensure he gets the perfect restart, I think. I think floor it now. Safety car is going to be coming in. Floor it around about when they come under this bridge. And there he goes. Day Miles literally goes, and everyone is just going to have to sit in behind and wait. Schmitsky's AI car has actually responded well to Day Miles' restart, and Day Miles gets us back underway. out on track. Drive-through penalty, of course, for Salas and Free Gronk still to serve. Free Gronk hasn't served that up since the start of the race, but Daymile's back underway, and what I said was going to be a 5-second gap is not. It's a 4/10 gap out in front from Daymiles, but look at the gap. Schmidtke in second, and his AI car is looking to overtake the leader. It's actually Tappy King gets through on Salas's AI, and Rock City now through on Jibby Storm. That is a human overtake from Rock City, and Rock City is through on Jibby Storm, and down the hill they come. Schmidtke's AI is right on the back of Daymiles. Salas has rejoined out on track. NSR Storm just getting a little bit sideways there, but here comes Rock City now on the back of him for 9th position, out on track. Hopefully Salas, hopefully Schmidtke will rejoin. It could be 3 wide. Running down the straight as Jibby Storm. Schmidtke's AI has got into the lead of the race. Unbelievable scenes. Schmidtke's AI now leads, and he's absolutely all over the back of Daymiles. Rock City, Storm, Torenheim. Goodness me, there's all sorts of action going on out on track. It's Daymiles who still leads. Torenheim now through up to second. Schmidtke has rejoined the session, which I'm glad to report. Salas has rejoined the session, which I'm glad to report as well. And Daymiles now leads, but he looks really, really struggling on that set of softs.
Yeah, Torenheim looked like he was going to take the lead with a massive out-braking maneuver going into Ravage, and it's really threatening him. Daymiles later tried, struggle on, and maintain that resistance. And there's a massive incident there. Move on.
Invictus, Storm into the wall, both of them crashing out. Is there going to be a third safety car of the night? It looks off track to me. Daymiles has spun as well through Stavilo. He has pulled off to the right hand side of the road. What has happened here with the Welshman? Daymiles off the road. Has he got right side end plate damage? I can't even see him.
He's turning into the wall. He must have control of his car. He must have done in some sort of respect, because his car's just turning right into the wall.
He's got back underway. He's got right side end plate damage. He's went into the wall. And I think, as no safety car, by the way, coming out on track, I think his controller or something disconnected there. He's gone massively wide, and that, again, is another silly act out on track. And that, fortunately, a third safety car out on track. And honestly, I don't know what's going to come first. This race finish or Christmas?
This is, I'm not gonna lie, I don't like expressing my emotions too much on stream on a personal level.
Yeah, and then he does that.
This is frustrating. This is genuinely frustrating for us. The field will now have to go around again, and we've had we're 8.5 laps into this race, and we've seen barely any green flag running so far.
It's so frustrating. I have got my hands in my head right now, because this literally has been a stop-start race. That's all we can describe it as. For anybody that is tuning into this now, I am so sorry. You deserve better than this. We as commentators deserve better than this, and certainly some of the drivers that have acted in pretty abhorrent ways, to be honest, deserve better. And honestly, I feel sorry for most of these guys out on track. They're probably thinking right in their tiny minds now, out on track, where they go around, out on track, a third safety car. This is just going to ruin everything that they've really built up for in this race. And it's a shame. TTML Division 5, frankly, from tonight, deserves better. Simple as.
Certainly, and it's a shame that it's been the actions of a few drivers that have let down the very positive actions of the 15 drivers still left in this race that want to actually put on a show for us, put on an enjoyable run for themselves, and yeah, we're just being denied of that, which is a massive shame. Hopefully, the second half of this race is far better. We can actually see how these guys compare on a rather more serious level as the conditions now improve. Yeah, the playing field somewhat levels, I guess, but as we now get onto the 10th lap of this race, please can we have a clean run to the second half of this Grand Prix?
I really hope so. I think we built this up. The safety car, the virtual Burt Marlander gets up. Oh, Torenheim nearly goes into the back of the virtual Burt Marlander. Goodness me, you had to get that car slowed down. But Torenheim now is essentially the safety car out on track, because the safety car's in front of him. He will be the one that leads the pack if they don't come into the pits. I'm actually surprised that not many drivers, I'm surprised actually the whole field has not came in for a fresh set of mediums, because it will be level playing field, 12-13 laps to the end of the race. The tyres can make it, depending on the driving style of the drivers. It would be the case, I think, everyone to pit in on a set of mediums, like Maze has done, for example, and then go right to the flag.
Yeah, the real question is, what about the drivers that are on, like, for example, your race leaders that are on 3-4 lap old mediums? Can they get to the end of the race? That I suspect that they probably can, but they are going to be disadvantaged versus the guys on fresher tires. And to be fair, it's only Satby, King, and Maze that have went for that strategy. Very surprising. We'll see. Obviously, they didn't have much. They didn't have much track position to lose, but we'll see how far up they can charge tire advantage. What can they make of it? But I suspect that the race leaders, I think only Rock City is going to have a really tough time getting to the end of the race.
Macca's just came on to a good point as well. Fuel management might be an issue this race. Think people might run out. That's another factor.
Oh, well, we will certainly see, of course. Yeah, because it's been just the stop-start nature of this race. It has been just anything but a traditional Grand Prix. As the safety car should be in on this lap, and indeed it is. They see the lights go out, and Tornay will now back up the field. A de facto safety car, and hopefully we get a clean getaway this time out.
Oh, I really hope so. If not, I am honestly going to put my head in my hands once again. I think that's the only way we could describe the frustration out on track from a minority rather than the majority out on track, we must stress. But Division 4's finished. We are going on to lap 11 out of 22. We are now pretty much at the halfway stage, and we've had 3 safety cars that has been in a stop-start fashion, to likes of which we haven't seen, I think, since F1 2019. As Torenheim now floors it and now says go, and he begins this march now with 12 laps to go. Torenheim crosses the line in front to start, hopefully, what is going to be the best second half of the race we've ever seen. Torenheim leads. Sammy King, Salas back into the pit lane, but Torenheim leads. Schmitsky second, Passel's third, Schumi in fourth. Macca in fifth. Rock City very late on the brakes, runs miles out wide. Coming through turn 1, could give Jibby Storm now the run down towards the Rouge and Radion. And Jibby Storm, I don't think has got the pace, but he has conserved 100% of his ERS. Most drivers, I think, would have conserved about that much, but Rock City, you would imagine, on that sort of soft compound of tyres, will begin to fly through the field. He's got a very easy target as Macca is ahead of him, and Macca pulls to the right-hand side, feels enough to defend the position. Rock City not going to go for the move, and we stay as we are. Freak, Ronk and Hulkenberg are actually going side by side, and Hulkenberg hangs on for 11th position out on track. For the fastest lap of the race, by the way, to 1:48.8 from Rock City. That's how slow we've been so far.
These drivers now can maybe try get into the rhythm. They could produce some faster lap times out there, certainly. Up in the front, Tornay got away very well. Leads by 1.3 seconds. Schmetsky hasn't quite been able to go with him, and now WR Tornay with the AlphaTauri runs nicely up in the lead of the race. We'll see if he can hold on to that one as we finally near the halfway stage here at Spa-Francorchamps. Let's see if we can actually keep this going this time, keep it sustained. What is the closest battle on track? Jeff Roos is right there with Ranheim down there in 8th and 9th. Those guys were some of the people that disputed the front of the race last time out at Breton at Silverstone, and now they can battle a little bit further down the ground as well. Jeff Roos trying to line up, but I don't think the move is quite coming just yet. They are still having to just stay in a line at the moment. A little bit of overtake being used from Jafros, but he is just sitting back for the moment. Now bunching up Rock City, get very close to the rear wing. Oh, Macca there in the Red Bull. Now they run over the line. Lap 12 here in the Belgian Grand Prix. And let's see now. DRS still will not be activated. Overtaking will be much more difficult. Is that Rock City again? So late in the brakes. He's really threatening back there.
He is really threatening. He wants to try and get past, but he's in his DRS train. Passled all the way down pretty much from Schumi downwards now. Down to Jeffrey are all stuck in a DRS train, so it's going to be very difficult to overtake, but Rock City's got a tremendous run. Now on the inside line, coming through the Camel straight, Macca is not going to give this one up without a fight, but just in the blinking of an eye, Jippy Storm now I think is going to come through possibly on Macca, down the inside in towards Lecombe. He backs out of it very late indeed. Goodness me, we could have had a 4th safety car there if that wasn't Jippy Storm backing out of that, but great racing out on track. Rock City through and he's up into 5th. Macca still hanging on for 6th, Jippy Storm 7th, Ranheim in 8th. In terms of the championship standings, the driver's standings, Jibby Storm would take the championship lead out on track as it stands right here, right now. That is with Jack Roos in 9th and Mays down in 14th. And because Mays is down in 14th, Jibby Storm is in the theoretical lead of the championship out on track.
We know how unpredictable this race has been so far, James. Anything can happen and everything can change. Here we go then. We have just over 10 laps to go in this race. Jimmy Storm himself is trying to line up Mac, and we saw in Britain how good Mac's defensive driving is, how aggressive his defensive driving is. But can he hold up to this one? Because Jimmy Storm has a tremendous one going towards Baltimore.
No way.
He's going to be ready outside. He's going to try. He's going to opt for it. Ready outside. Mac is pitched on the inside line. Jimmy Storm, brave. It's brave. It's bold. And it's beautiful. Through goes Jimmy Storm in that fifth place as Mac nearly runs into the back of him. Ran out trying to line it up as well. But what a move from Jimmy Storm. Gets the move done. Nice and clean. Mac gave him the space on the outside. Did what he needed to do. And now Jimmy Storm runs 6th place. He's cleared the hard runner. And now we can try and focus in on catching up with that podium fight. Still led by Passels out there.
That, Nilsson, that, Jeffrey, is how you go around the outside, round Blanchimont, and make it stick, as Torenheim has actually retired. He's crashed coming up the hill through a Rouge and Radion from the lead of the race, and it's a 4th safety car out on track. My goodness me, this throws the race completely wide open, and for somebody like Schmidtsky, you must be rubbing your hands at this stage. We've got 8 more laps to go, or 9 more laps after this lap. Schmidtsky now leads. I did not see what happened to Torenheim. I can only believe he's lost it coming through a Rouge and Radion, got a tad bit of oversteer, and now he's out the race. And a 4th safety car out on track, and I think for the first time, it's actually not being caused by some idiotic drivers out on track.
Yeah, Torenheim, I think what must have happened is that he caught the curb at the inside of Radion, the sweeping uphill right-hander. Caught that curb and went spearing off into the wall in a similar fashion to what we saw with Kevin Magnussen in real life back in 2016. I imagine that's what has gone down. But yeah, Torenheim, he had such a good lead. He was out in front by about 3 or 4 seconds over Schmidtsky. Absolutely flown away, and that is so bitterly disappointing for WR Torenheim. It does mean again the race has turned on its head. Schmidtsky leads the way, and he looked to have the speed over Passels on that restart, so he now has a bit of a buffer. We'll see how that all works out, and if anyone's going to try and change up their strategies. This race has been exhausting. It has been truly exhausting for our imaginary drivers, and certainly for us, I suspect, to be covering it. Let's keep an eye out. There'll be 9 laps to go as we cross the line. If anyone is going to opt to try and get some fresh tyres on, maybe change things up, I don't imagine they're going to change. I don't imagine there's going to be pit stops up the front of the grid. All these guys wanting to preserve their track position. Anyone going for Rock City, and he knew those tyres were not going to make it to the end of the race. Rock City into the pits. We'll get fresh tyres on, and we'll try and come back to the field of that Mercedes and get a solid haul of points here today. Yeah, Freak Bronk into the pit lane as well. Mays into the pit lane again as well. No. I wonder. With Rock City obviously coming into the pit there, I think the Mays' pick crew will not be ready for him at this stage. They're just about off, to be honest. He's only going to lose about a second out on track. But what I was going to say, is he going to go onto a set of soft compound tyres? He's answered my question. Yes, they all go onto a set of soft compound tyres. So now, because they're running under the safety car, these soft compound tyres are not going to be wearing away at the rate that they would be going at 100% speed running up through a Rouge and Radion, for example. It's about 5% in terms of tyre degradation around this track per lap. On a set of softs, if you're really, really canny on that tyre management, you could be losing 3% a lap, and those soft tyres will get to the end of the race out on track. Silas is back in as well. Poor Silas, we could be waiting until Christmas until he catches back up to this pit. This safety car queue. He's back into the pit lane again out on track, and he's going to go on to a set of soft compound tyres. So on lap 14 out of 22, he's got a 5-second penalty to serve up as well, which I think is worthy to serve up certainly. And Salas into the pit lane from a set of mediums, goes on to a set of soft compound tyres. Oh goodness me, lap 15 is eventually going to begin. We cannot catch a break here in Division 5 tonight. It is literally the most tiring race possible. Division 1 and Division 2, we had about 39 minutes worth of racing. Tonight, I think, with the 4 safety cars that we've had, we're going to be nearly in excess of an hour, I think. Yeah, and with a lobby restart as well. With a lobby restart, yeah. Yeah, this has been utterly exhausting. For us. Hopefully you guys are still tuned in there and still engaged in this race, because it has been going on for such an incredibly long time. About 80 minutes we have been on the air for, and with a safety car as well to add on to that. it could well be more. Hopefully, we can get this wrapped up. Hopefully, this 4th safety car will indeed be the last one. Of course, this is not something we can really blame the drivers for, just an honest mistake on Tornheim's part, which he'll be more gutted for than anything, because he looked so impressive as a... What are you pointing at?
I thought the safety car was coming into the pits. It's not. Don't worry.
Okay.
It's Sammy King, Rock City slowing up underneath the safety car. I think Sammy King went past Hulkenberg, and Hulkenberg now has to re-overtake him there. So that's what we saw there. Rock City in 11th. Go ahead with what you were saying. Sorry, Dan.
I've almost lost it now, thanks to that. Thanks to that. But yeah, hopefully this will be the last safety car we are seeing in this race. This is a fascinating one though, because these 4 drivers at the back of the field, how far can they charge through the field? Let's have a quick rundown of what we're seeing in terms of the penalties in this race. So second place Passels has a 3-second time penalty. Jaff Roos, his teammate 7th, has a 5-second stop and go that he probably won't get a chance to serve in this race. Satmi King has 6 seconds. Rock City, who lags about the track for me, has 3 seconds to his name. Silas, right at the back of the field, who will rejoin very, very soon, has 3 seconds. So not too many penalties to report here, particularly near the front of the field. Passels is the one that could well be losing out, more so than others, certainly up there. We'll see. Jimmy Storm, after all this, after making that wrong strategy call, still runs in a solid enough 4th place, can try and make work of that and try and hunt down. He has fresher tyres in the top 3. He's not out of the fight for maybe a 3rd race win in a row, and with Mays having a nightmare down there in 13th place, with Jack Roos running in 7th with a 5-second penalty to his name. Jimmy Storm, as we alluded to earlier, despite everything that's been thrown at him, he still has an incredible chance of moving into the championship lead and still has a shot at a 3rd race win in a row here at Belgium.
This will be unbelievable. Strap yourselves in. If you've got a seatbelt handy, get it. Honestly, you're in for a roller coaster, because I can only describe these next 7 laps as possibly the defining 7 laps maybe of the season, certainly within terms of the championship, certainly within this race. Safety car lights are now out. Schmidtsky now is in the safety car hot seat. He has gained 16 positions out on track. 17th up to 1st. Passels has gained 14 positions, and Schumi, who's in 3rd, has gained 11 positions out on track. Also, Maka has gained 8, Mays has gained 6, Salas has gained 4. They're further down the field. Look at the pit stops that everyone's made. Top 7 have only made 1 stop. Everyone else have either 2, 3 or 4 pit stops in terms of Mays. But now we're about to get underway. Strap yourselves in. 6 more laps to go. And Schmidtsky now will come across the line. He will back up the pack enough to have a good run out the final corner. Really backs up the pack, coming to the bus stop chicane, and now he says go. That was very close to Passels, having a little bit of contact with him actually out on track, but we're back in the green flag racing, and goodness me, looks like Jimmy Storm was trying to attack Schumi down in towards turn 1. Schumi runs out wide. Jimmy Storm gets the run through turn 1. Brilliant move by Jimmy Storm. He's already up into 3rd position. That is absolutely sublime from the potential championship leader out on track. Schmidtsky though has got away by a second. Passels all over the shop, running up through a Rouge and Radion. Jimmy Storm in 3rd, Schumi 4th, Maka 5th, Ranheim in 6th, and here comes Ranheim right on the back of Maka, running down in towards Lacombe. Maka on the inside, on the outside line, Ranheim on the inside line, mediums against hards, and the hards man, Maka somehow breezes right on the outside and holds on. Sammy King right on the back of Hulkenberg as well. Rock City getting involved in this. He's got a time penalty as well, 3 seconds to his name. He's trying to get past the soft runners, now up against the medians, but Schmidtsky has got a terrific restart, 1.2 seconds ahead. It's now game on to the end. I think as Freak Gronk has been overtaken by Mays further down the field.
Yeah, Mays getting up there into 12th place there. Great start from Schmidtsky. It was unconventional, but it worked, and now he is clear. 1.5 seconds ahead of Passels. Jimmy Storm gonna try and go with him now. Can he maybe close up on Schmidtsky's race lead? Schmidtsky has had a solid season, but he's not really had any standout results. This could be his time. Down the field, Jeffrey battling with Jack Rooster. He had a look around the inside.
Oh, Passels
out. Passels out of the race, going through Stavolo, and he has to get. He's gone out on the exit.
Another
we have
safety
a
car.
Yellow and a red safety car. My word, what on earth is going on?
No! Another safety car. We are cursed in Division 5 We are absolutely cursed. Everyone now has got to surely pit in for the set of soft compound tyres. Schmidtsky, no. Jimmy Storm, no. These guys are all staying out. Ronheim's staying out. Jack Russo is in. Jack Roos is in. Hulkenberg in. They've got nothing to lose. Sammy King is in. He's got nothing to lose. Mays, Freak, Gronk and Salas may as well stay out. But goodness me, I don't think I've seen this amount of safety cars out on track for months. Months. Probably since the game was released. Jeffrey has left the session from 6th position out on track. Passel's crashed through Stavolo. I think he got caught wide maybe through Stavolo and has gone crashing into the wall, and his car's ended up on the right hand side of the wall. I don't know where to go from here.
The one thing I can say for this race is that the driver that's led the most laps is certainly Bernd Mailander. There is no question about that. It's absolutely sewn up. We've had far more yellow flag running than green flag running, which is a massive shame. Although I feel gutted for Passos and also for Tornheim, because those guys were running up. They looked at a podium fight potentially, and yet just a simple error has cost them dear. But the fact that we now have just 13 cars left in the race, 7 cars out, and we have seen 5 safety cars. It is simply extraordinary. And all the commentaries that I've done, and I've done well over 100 now, I have never seen anything like this.
I really have seen something like this. It was a few months ago, I think at the beginning of the season here in TTML, where we had the safety car glitch get fixed. Safety car glitch hasn't been fixed, as you can clearly tell here in Division 5 tonight. Hashtag esports ready on Twitter if you do want to voice your opinions at Codemasters. I am sure they would love to listen and not fix anything. Schmidtsky, though, out in front. He, I think, has led more laps now since the beginning of the race. It's absolutely unbelievable. Everyone out on track. Jack Roos, by the way, pitted underneath that safety car when it came out. He's now down in 13th. Mays, I think, theoretically now is 2nd position in the championship out on track. Jibby Storm leads the championship currently as it stands, and everything is falling into Jibby Storm's place. If you were a betting man, you would not have predicted this top 3, I guarantee it.
Yeah, it is simply impossible to predict the events of this race. You stressed before this race that anything can happen, and well, I think I think that God was listening to you and decided to really influence this race. This has been manic, and I think at this point, as Nell is out the session, he is no longer in the race, as there's a bit of confusion back there. Jeffrey has died to the pit lane, and is kind of going for, that's his AI car, sorry, yeah. So he did disconnect from the session maybe about a lap ago, and his AI has come in, fresh softs on, it serves a stop
5-second penalty.
Yeah. And so he's going to get those tyres on. We'll see, hopefully he gets back in control and he can actually make an impression in the final laps of this race. It means now the top 5 drivers are isolated older tyres, and Mays is actually on for a top 5 here. And with those fresh softs, I wouldn't rule out. I think the Jimmy Storm's chance of leading this championship after this round, they're certainly very optimistic, but I don't think it's a done deal. Mays has really gained out of all these strategies, has Rock City in front of him, his teammate. If those Mercedes can work with each other, maybe try and challenge the guys in front, then Jimmy Storm's ability to maybe take that championship lead is only 3 points the gap going into this race. He's been consistently up the front, but this late charge from the Mercedes may just offset that championship lead. He loses the grab here, but he may still be able to overhaul Schmidtsky. So many questions to be asked. Hopefully they're all answered. We have 4 laps to go as we come in. That should be it good. I don't think it's possible for another safety car to bring us into the end of the race. We will see his end. So 4 laps. What's going on?
We will get DRS on the final 2 laps of the race.
Have we seen DRS in this race? That's one thing I want to ask.
No, we haven't. We haven't even seen any overtakes on this in this race. Never mind the DRS. Goodness me. Schmidtsky out in front though. Tries to do a sterling job. He is on potentially for his first race win out on track. Jibby still now in 2nd, Shumi in 3rd. I've got a bit of a dilemma. You might have to take the race start here. I've lost one of my slippers. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I've got one slipper on, one slipper off, and I don't know where it's gone.
I don't know if you want to hand this over to me. I can.
You can?
I can take this for you. The safety car is coming into the end of this lap, and now Shmetsky's going to control it, weaving violently from one side of the track to the other. He'll be looking in both mirrors, seeing where Jimmy Storm is and when he is going to make his effort to go to the front of the race. He went coming out of the bus stop chicane last time out. When will it be this time? Will it be earlier? Through Bloodshot, he's running a high pace actually, about 130 miles an hour or so, about over 200 kilometers an hour. As we now head into the bus stop, he's keeping this brisk pace up. Now they reach it, he slows it all down. He opens up the final corner. He's going to go for a similar strategy to the last restart. I'm thinking now, Shmetsky gets this back on the way. Jimmy Storm though goes right with him, and he's threatening him over the line now. Sammy King goes pit lane immediately in the Ferrari, and so the Ferrari and then he will probably not have a chance of getting solid points here in this race. Here we are now, lap 19, final 4 laps, and Jimmy Storm trying to chase down Shmetsky up in the front of the race now. The slipstream will be in order. Shmetsky offline through Radion, barely keeps it on the road, but now he's going to only attack as the potential championship leader. Is that Maze going round to the back of the field? Maze off at the exit of Radion, and that is massive for the championship. TTG Maze in an incident, I think, with Freak Frog has gone off. He's got damage, but he's down in the back of the field. No damage on that car, but he's been massively set back. And Maka now looking at Shumi, trying to claim that podium. Jimmy Storm, now the pendulum has swung in again towards the racing point. Can he overhaul Shmetsky? And can he claim this championship lead here after round 7? Jimmy Storm, it is all falling completely into his hands here tonight.
Absolutely unbelievable. I have found my slipper, by the way, if anybody was wondering. Maka right on the back of Shumi. It was underneath a Christmas bag, which is appropriate. Maze, though, had contact with Freak Frog. I think Freak Frog tried to go around the outside of him, coming up through Rouge and Radion. That's what happened there. I can just describe it as that. Maze losing the car, Freak Frog losing a position as well, I think, to Rock City and all of that as well. And now Shmetsky leads the way. Jibby Storm, though, is in second, and now Jibby Storm has got to have a go. He's got a lap fresher tyres, but it means to say, are these sides going to get to the end? He's got to go on the he's going to go on the attack, I think, in 2 laps' time, because the DRS is not going to be enabled until then. Ranheim right on the back of Maka coming into the bus stop chicane, and now they all begin to concertina up as they come through the bus stop. On to lap 20. We're finally reaching the grandstand finish that we've all came to see and love here in Division 5, and it's Shmetsky who leads the way on to the final 3 laps of the race. Jibby Storm in second. Rock City has got Ranheim. I think Ranheim ran wide, and Rock City now, as Ranheim is going to come back at him, and they're not going to go side by side down in towards the Rouge and Radion, and Rock City has now got 5th position ahead of Ranheim. I think he ran wide.
Yeah, Rock City getting through. How much ground can he make in the final 3 laps of this race? Jimmy Storm biding his time in the battle for the lead though. Shmetsky using far more of his overtake and his ERS. I think that's maybe Jimmy Storm's plan, to starve out Shmetsky and pounce when that DRS is activated on the next lap. He has a great opportunity of striking at the heart of the Williams and maybe denying him right in the post. It is still so in the air. Look at Shmetsky, he is fading that car completely. He must be desperate for this. He's not had an opportunity like this to win a race. Jimmy Storm has, and he'll still be hungrier than ever, because he knows after Maze having a disaster here tonight, he has an incredible opportunity. Jack Roos down in 10, Maze is down in 12, Jimmy Storm is up in second, but can he overhaul? Can he overtake Shmetsky right at the death here? Just over 2 laps to go here in the dramatic Belgian Grand Prix, and Jimmy Storm closing in there as they head through Stavalo. He's fighting that car, he's flirting with the grass, he's using the absolute maximum of the track. Can Shmetsky hold on to it? But by fear, he's got 20% ERS. Jimmy Storm has 70%. Surely when the DRS is activated, Jimmy Storm's going to have a run. Going on to the next lap, the Racing Point is poised. Can he find a way through here? Right in the closing stages of this race.
These two are pulling away from Shumi as well, and that's going to be the deciding factor in these guys, because Maka is right on the back on a set of hards. Rock City cannot get through. He's got penalties. Ranheim, in fact, all the way down to 9th position, has got penalties behind Rock City. So it's going to be the case where we could see the winner out of these top 3, and we could see the podium finishers out of the top 3, top 4 drivers as we see out on track. Shmetsky, though, now under attack from Jibby Storm, and Jibby Storm has got this one absolutely numbered up to try and get the overtake done. He doesn't want to go for it too soon, but now he does. Jebby Storm sailed on by down the Kemmel Straight. Here comes Rock City now on the outside as Ranheim will try and get through. Macca's very late on the brakes. Goodness me, they're late and they're fighting. And Rock City surely is going to get that move done around the outside with the traction. Brilliant racing. Macca does not want to give up without a fight. He's putting in a stoic performance down into the inside. Too much of a stoic performance. He tried to go for the gap that was inevitably going to close. I don't think Rock City realised he was there. And now Macca loses all sorts of positions out on track. And there goes his run, possibly for picking up a podium. But he is side by side with Freak Gronk winning down the hill. But not quite. Silas has retired out on track. That is under his own regard, as opposed to crashing out on track, which is what you should do. And Macca has now lost 3-4 positions, I think. Rock City, Ranheim and Free Gronk all the way through, and they're up to 4th, 5th and 6th. And my voice is going, as you can tell.
I will try and take over then for the concluding chapter, as Silas now out the session as well. So he's given up on that ghost. That means we just have 12 drivers left. What a race of attrition this has been. Mays now attacking Hulkenberg then, straight through. Going through the third sector as Jeffrey's AI in a tight space, trying to make up all the points he possibly can. Jab Bruce now attacking Macca as well. To the outside of the bus stop again. Macca lunges on the brakes. Contact with the Renault. He forces him out wide. And Macca fading to the middle with these positions. Surely he has to give it up, but he has the DRS and he's looking to keep it. Defending to the inside line. And now Jadros launches back to the inside. Macca gets into space. Contact between the Renault and the Red Bull.
Jeffrey's
and Macca will just about keep it as Jeffrey's AI is right with them. So here we go then. Going up at the front. Jeffrey's going round into Blanchimont.
Oh my God.
Not Blanchimont or Rouge, sorry, but he does back out and Macca maintains it. Looking for the heck and ran out fight back. And Rock City Mays on Jeffrey's AI. He's going to go for all of them. He's going to get all of them. Jeffrey, a triple overtake maybe. He has it in store. And Jeffrey loses out. Jack Bruce loses out. Macca loses out. Mays moves forward. 7th place for the Mercedes. Superb as Macca drops heaps of positions on the final lap here at Spa. What a dramatic race. What a dramatic conclusion to this race. And may finally be over after a huge amount of time. 95 minutes this has been of racing. It's all culminating in this final end to the race. Jimmy Storm leads the way 2 seconds clear. He has dominated the end of this. He has cruised clear of Shemetsky and now has it in his sights. He's even going faster on this last lap. Can he even grab a fastest lap right at the dead? Let's have a look and see if that's going to change their Mays the Holt's fastest lap. I think he's pretty safe on that. Mays will try and get points, but Jimmy Storm, what a performance this has been. He won in France off a strategy. He won in Britain off of penalties. And now, here at Spa, he is producing the goods yet again. A 3rd win in a row, and now the championship lead for Jimmy Storm. 1990 over the line wins here at Spa. Shemetsky holds up for 2nd. Shemetsky must have had penalties. Freak Gronk gets a podium. What a Mays! What on earth? What on earth? Mays in 3rd place. I didn't even clock any of these penalties. I think a lot of them didn't even register for us, but Mays somehow, from somewhere, is on the podium. Shimmy 2nd. What an incredible race. Well, I would say incredible, actually. That's probably the wrong word to describe it, but that was just
crazy.
I have no words to describe that race.
Satmy King across the line to pick up in 12th position. Only 12 finishes out of a possible 20 that started this race. We're not going to have any driver interviews, by the way. I think these guys have had enough of the action out on track. Mays picks up the in-game folded vans driver of the day. That will come back to haunt me, I'm sure. I've just said that wrong. But to the top step of the podium, it's Jimmy Storm. 3rd win of the season. Championship leader. Never doubt the head commentator in TTML. When I say he's got a chance of winning a race, he does.
Yeah, I'll give that to you. But yeah, he does win the race. Shumi, having had a tough season so far, that's a fantastic way to get 2nd place. Bit of a lottery this race was, but he does in the end come through 2nd. Mays, four pit stops, was nowhere for the entire race, and has somehow picked up a podium with the fastest lap. He loses the championship lead, but my oh my, it could have been so much worse. Frank Bronk 4th. Shemetsky hasn't come up saying he has a penalty. He, at least on my view, he must have had 6 seconds.
Let's have a look.
No, I'm looking at the race director. He's had no warnings. What on earth is going on? How is Shemetsky not second? I'm massively confused at that. Rock City does get sixth in the end with 6 seconds of penalties. Jeffrey's AI car crosses 7th. A brilliant performance, it must be said. Jath Roos in 8th place in the end. Ranheim gets 9th. Maka, having really feisty defence, heads outside the top 10, or just outside the top 10, sorry, 10th place. Hogeberg and Satmi King round at the finishers. And then the lengthy list of DNFs: Silas Passos, Tornheim, Daymiles, Invictus Storm, Nellis and Nilsson. That is quite a mouthful. And that is the list of drivers that couldn't see out the checkered flag. That was easily the strangest race of the season. 5 safety cars, and in the end, a rather thrilling conclusion to the race, but the race itself was a massive mess, it must be said.
Yeah, marred, I think, by just stupid, idiotic drivers crashing out on purpose, to be honest. That's as simply as we can put it. And obviously, I think because we've overran so much, I don't want to give these guys more stress. We're not going to have any driver interviews here tonight. I think it's the best thing. But what I can promise you next week, we will get Jibby Storm in. We'll start the stream a little bit earlier next week. We will get Jibby Storm in for a winner's interview, just so that you are treated to something out on track, ready for next week. And if you thought Belgium was that long, we've got Singapore next week, so God knows what we're going to be doing. Oh, yeah, May's coming in there saying what a joke of a race. Completely and utterly agree with that. And we've had our vocal opinions, I think. But one opinion that we haven't agreed on yet: who was your driver of the day?
I'll be honest, I don't even want to give a driver of the day after like that's no, genuinely serious. After what we saw tonight, I really honestly. Jimmy Storm, yes, that Jimmy Storm, that is certainly a shout. And I think he does certainly deserve it. I'll give it to Jimmy Storm, sure, but honestly, that race was just a bit of a lottery, and yeah, I think it's hard to pick out. Yeah, Jimmy Storm, sure, and he has been on form as of late. There is absolutely no doubt about that. I think probably getting a little bit sick of his voice in the interviews after the race with how consistent and on form he has been. 3 races in a row. Could anyone stop him in the final races of the season?
Well, the points gap, I think, between himself and Mays is only going to be 7 points. Barring any penalties, of course, there might be a lot coming our way, certainly next week as we go to Singapore. Mays coming in there, hashtag safety car off now is going to be trending on Twitter, I think. Agree with that, disagree with that, you can have your own opinions, of course, keep them to yourself. And Boris Johnson, clearly the race director, Maka has said. Yeah, I think he wanted everyone to be socially distanced 2 metres apart, to be honest, and that's why we've had 6 safety cars, I think, and that's why this race was absolutely ruined. 6 safety cars in the end. I miscounted one. We had 6 safety cars out on track. And honestly, if I've got to end the stream off in the non-biased opinion ever, I think that race personally was one of the worst in Division 5. I think the driving standards need to improve 110% from a minority of drivers crashing out under the safety car, and also from some of the guys that were trying to go for moves out on track. I'm sure the stewards are going to be busy, and I'm sure, hopefully, I pray that Singapore next week is going to be a lot cleaner. You want to see the best action. We want to commentate on the best action. TTML is not known for a race like this. Clean it up, or else. Simple as that.
Yeah, I fully agree. We should not be seeing races like this. Driving standards haven't been bad in general this season, so that has really shocked me as to what we've seen here tonight. And I can only apologise to you guys watching that had to experience probably less than a third of the race being run under green flag conditions. Like that was. I can't swear on stream, I don't think, but I'm tempted to. I'm not going to lie. That was.
You can let your frustrations out to me when the stream goes down. That is for sure.
No problem.
Just use me as a punch bag. Honestly, it's fine.
But yeah, let's please hope that Singapore produces a much better race and we can give this division the action and the coverage that it so deserves.
Yep, Jibby Storm coming in saying no interviews. I think we're we're sick of it, to be honest now. We've had 6 safety cars. I think everyone wants a break. And that's why we're not going to do any interviews tonight. But Jibby Storm, honestly, we're going to give you an interview next week before the race. We're going to start the stream a little bit early, probably at about 10 to 8. We'll start our time, and we'll give you an interview then. So you're not going to miss out at all, and hopefully we might even get our top 3 in from this week as well. But, oh, right, it's time to end. I'm a celebrity's on. Right. Thank you so much for watching this Belgian Grand Prix. You may as well have had a 5-lap race, I think, and it would have been more entertaining than what we had over 50% distance there. But Singapore next week, let's hope it's the start of, once again, good race standards and hopefully really good viewing for you guys and good commentary from us as well. Thank you so much for watching. I've been James Head, he's been Daniel Hoggard. Please take care of yourselves in this crazy world we live in, and we'll see you again next week for round 8 in Singapore. Until then, goodbye.